So I've completed day 3 with my new permanent dentures, and I want to talk about how I'm feeling now and talk more about the whole permanent denture process because I didn't really get the chance to elaborate on that in my last video because there was a lot going on. Um, but I want to really talk about that. So anyways, where I'm at right now with my dentures they feel totally normal. They feel completely normal. Um, there's still a little bit more saliva production, um, but it's not as bad as it was the first day. The sore spots are gone. I mean, they were never really sore spots, like, the spots that start to turn red, and they weren't like that from the get go. It was just a little uncomfortable feeling at first, and now that's totally gone. Like, they feel completely normal to me. They feel completely normal. Um, I'm probably going to try to put in my temporary dentures tomorrow to get a good idea of the difference between the two of them, because these, it feels like I've had them all along. So nothing odd about that. Yesterday, I should have updated yesterday because yesterday I did notice a lot of things. Um, the first thing that I noticed was resting, like my natural relaxed face. It was really awkward because it was so different, like that. When you're just sitting there, not talking, not doing anything, you're just. The teeth kind of sometimes will hit my bottom lip, so they're longer. They come down more, I think, than my temporary ones did, or maybe they're out a little bit further. I don't know. I can't really figure it out, but it was kind of obnoxious yesterday because it's just nothing felt comfortable, and I felt like I looked funny just sitting there like this. So I'm used to it now. But anyways, another thing I noticed yesterday was the quality of these teeth compared to my temporary dentures. It is so much better. So much better. I guess I never, because I mean, going from what you saw me with before, with my natural teeth, obviously, the temporary dentures felt a lot more normal, but I guess I never realized how poor the quality of those teeth were. The molars were really rounded off. And so, like, for instance, these molars are sharper and they feel a lot more natural feeling. Last night, when my husband got off work, he cooked some steaks for us. And, I mean, he cooks tender steak anyways, don't get me wrong. But, I was like, oh my God, how did you get this steak so tender? It's just like, it was just melting in my mouth. And he thought that his steak might have been tougher than mine. So I was like, well, let me try it. So I tried a piece of his steak, and no, his steak was the same, you know, God, am I gonna have to edit the video because I just lost my train of thought? His steak was just as tender as mine was. So I was like, here, try mine and tell me if you think that it's, tender or about the same as yours. And he said that mine was the same as his. So I know now that it was just my teeth could really gnaw into that steak and grind it much better than my temporary dentures did. I ate really well with my temporary dentures, but I eat far better with these, and it's day 3. I mean, last night was day 2, so that's something I noticed right away when I ate. Even the front teeth, they were really sharp. The other ones were just so much more polished and rounded off. They were dull in comparison to these. These feel like natural teeth. Like, if I was to bite my tongue, I'm sure it would be pretty painful. Um, I mentioned in my last video the feeling of that bulk right there. I'm used to it already. So I'm so glad that I didn't just jump the gun and get my dentist to adjust them. My eyes are really watering. I think I've got like an allergy problem to something going on in this house right now. Because when I first put them in my mouth, they just felt so foreign that I wanted the dentist to do something to make them feel like my temporary dentures again. So I'm telling you now, you can always have your dentist do adjustments later. Try to deal with them for a couple days because they might feel totally normal to you. And I know mine do. So I'm not even aware of that bulk anymore. The next thing is no adhesive. No adhesive. They fit very comfortably, very snug. I mentioned before that I did lose a lot of bone on the bottoms, so the bottoms are, not as stable as my temporary dentures were when I first got those. But it's still not like it's an issue or anything like that. I can still eat with them because over, time having practiced with my temporary dentures, I've learned how to control the bottom dentures so they don't fly up out of nowhere. Anyways, what else? The color, I absolutely love the color. Like I said, I really thought that it would be too bright. I thought that it would be too noticeable, but it really isn't. Like it really is. To me, it just looks like you used white. There it goes. I just bit my tongue. That kind of hurt. It just looks like you used white strips and that's it. So it's not overbearing like I thought it would be. I love the shade. I can't stop looking at them. I'm still like amazed at how much different they make me feel about myself because my temporary dentures started to get really loose, really uncomfortable. All of the reline material on them. The quality of the denture itself was just, poor, so they started to kind of scratch a little bit and get dried out in spots, and they just, they lost their oomph that they had when I first got them. So, in recent months or whatever, I started feeling kind of not as vibrant as I felt in the beginning. But now I'm like, all about doing my makeup and stuff to look cute with my new teeth. It's just like, getting a new car. You keep wanting to look at it and investigate and stuff like that. So anyways, very pleased with the results of this. I'm very, very pleased with it. Now about the permanent denture process. Now I wrote a blog about it. When I did my last wax try-ins that I signed off on to get these. And there's a lot of good tips over there, but I'm going to briefly go over a few that I think are the most important when you're going for your wax try-ins to get your permanent dentures. The first and foremost is that, whatever you want done needs to be done while they're in wax. I can't stress that enough. It's really unfortunate. I do get a lot of messages from people who either assumed that things would be different with their permanent set or were told, oh, don't worry, we can fix that, and signed off on a wax try-in that they weren't happy with, only to get a denture that they're not happy with and could not get a refund. I mean, that is awful because, the price of dentures varies, but, they're all pretty much expensive. Like, nobody just wants to throw that money away. My set ultimately cost $2,225. It would have been $2,000, but I went with the whiter shade and different kind of teeth, so it kind of bumped the price up. But who wants to spend $2,000? I mean, even if that is a good price, who wants to spend that and not be happy with the results? So whatever issues you have with the dentures or with the wax try-ins, you need to get that corrected. While they're still in wax, don't sign anything. You're not really paying attention to fit. You're paying attention to just the aesthetics and the layout and the bite and everything. So what you want to make sure of is that the bite is lining up properly. No clicking, no whistling when you talk or anything like that. No weird, if it's like that, is going to be like that when it's in, permanent form. Your midline, you're going to pay attention to that. The bite length, if when you smile like this, all you can see is that, or all you can see is that, then of course you're going to want to get that adjusted, and you can get it adjusted. Just tell the dentist, I don't like how when I sit like this, you can't see my bottom teeth. That can be fixed, and it needs to be fixed while it's in wax. Of course, picking out the shade, picking out the shape of the teeth. If you want, like I did, I wanted these teeth up a little bit higher than these. Of course, I asked for them to kind of buck the teeth out a little bit more to support my lip. Things like that, they can do while they're still in wax. They cannot do it while it's in its permanent form. The only thing they can do in its permanent form is adjust the fit to make sure that the fit is proper. Anything else, you're kind of out of luck. So make sure that you take care of that. What else? There's something else I wanted to say about selecting everything. Oh yeah. If you think that you want more rounder teeth and maybe, I don't know, smaller front teeth or something like that, and you think that that's what you want, and then you get it and you're not happy with it, it's awkward, but just say to the dentist, I really thought that I would be happy with this, but now seeing it in my mouth, I'm not so sure. Can we try something else out? My dentist did that. The first teeth that I tried on, I ended up changing them completely. Changing the shade, changing the shape, everything. Like, he had to start all over again. And it's not something that you want to do intentionally, because you really don't want to waste a dentist's time. But if you genuinely thought that you were going to like the results, and then that turned out not to be the case, then don't hesitate to say something, because, like I've said so many times, you're going to be the one that has to wear these teeth. So get that taken care of. The next thing that is extremely important that I felt it really helped me out was to ask to be alone with the wax try-in. Because when you've got somebody standing there hovering over you, and you're trying to make an important decision, trying to figure out like what you like, what you don't like, and stuff like that, it could be really uncomfortable. And you're more likely with somebody there to say, oh yeah, it's not a big deal, to something that is a big deal. So ask if you can be left alone with the dentures. My eyes are watering so bad and they're turning red. Another reason it's nice to be left alone is because you're going to want to do some silly faces in the mirror. You really are going to want to, you don't want to just smile like this and say, I love it, because you're probably not going to like it if that's the only thing you've seen. You want to make sure that everything is perfect, because, smiling like this, you probably won't notice if, this tooth is way the heck up there, Do different scenarios. I know that sounds crazy, but laugh. See how they look when you're laughing. See how they look when you're just, regular talking or yawning or whatever. Just anything you can think of that you're going to do with your teeth and you want to know how they look in real life situations. Do those real life situations in the mirror, and that's why it's best if you're left alone, because that would be really awkward. They're going to be staring at you like, what are you doing? So ask to be left alone and make the crazy faces. You really have to investigate. Smile huge, uncomfortable, awkward, huge smile, that looks crazy, but do you see what I'm saying? Then you can get a good idea of when you're laughing out loud, ha 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 ha. Okay, I want to change these gums, whatever. My husband's home, but I'm going to try to work on my blog tomorrow and get some pictures up for a comparison. Pictures of these out of my mouth. Of course, you're not going to see my face with them out of my mouth. Side by side with the temporary dentures, things like that. I might throw up the pictures of my natural teeth and, whatever. I'm going to try to work on that tomorrow, but I've got to get time to take the pictures, and I haven't had that time this week. So I hope this information has helped, and you guys take care.